Entrepreneurially Thinking is a presentation of BioSTL and CET, Center for Emerging Technologies, with Rare Gem Productions, changing the way you view new ventures, including you on the pathway to success with your business in the St. Louis marketplace and beyond. Here's your hosts, Cheryl and Christy. Now let's get thinking entrepreneurially.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurially Thinking Podcast. Our goal is to kickstart your entrepreneurial mindset and create pathways for business success in the St. Louis marketplace and beyond. I'm Christy Maxfield.
And I am Dr. Cheryl Watkins Moore, the Inclusion Initiative Lead for BioSTL.
That is what I love about you, that you're the lead.
And, you know, the funniest thing is you hope that there's somebody following you behind it.
Truer words were never spoken. So welcome back, everybody. We're really glad to be back in front of the microphone. We've got lots of irons in the fire.
Yes.
And one of our goals for this year is to grow our entrepreneurially thinking listenership. Mm-hmm. So we are extremely grateful to our sponsors, BioSTL and CET.
They are our founding sponsors.
They are. They took a risk on us when no one else would, and probably nobody else should. So we are thrilled that they are back now that we, I would say, have figured out how to do this and are giving us the opportunity to make sure that you're connected to what they're doing. So the Square One Ignite program in the spring, the Biofundamentals program year-round, the online startup toolkit where you can find things 24/7 on ETHINKSTL-059, and the Global STL initiative at BioSTL. That's just a sampling of what both of those organizations are doing, and we're just thrilled that they are supporting our work here.
They are deeply embedded in this ecosystem.
Yes, and anchor institutions.
Yes.
And we're thrilled to have them. So we want to ask you to share our new episodes each week, give a shout out to your favorite guests, invite new friends to subscribe. I say 5, she says 10.
Everybody.
7. Let's just settle on 7, right? 7 new friends to listen to the podcast. Reach out, find out how to be a sponsor, because we'd love more folks to join BioSTL and CET in support of the program. So you can find us wherever you get your podcast: iTunes, Spreaker, LinkedIn, Facebook, and we want to make sure that you are part of the conversation.
Yes.
So who's with us today?
So we have someone really, really interesting. As she walked into the room,
you knew her.
I was like, I know you. Okay. But if you look at Genera Moore's LinkedIn profile, you might not know that she is, in fact, a St. Louis native.
She is.
In fact, she's a global citizen with a degree in business from Georgia State and international entertainment business cred. She is moving mountains from whatever port she calls home.
And she's here for a little while.
Yes. So thankfully, she's in town. And we have her on the red couch.
We do. We have our little red couch going.
So Christy and Genera met last year when she came out to support her friend who was graduating from the Square One boot camp program at CET. Since then, they found themselves co-working at NextCore.
We have. In
the Fox Park neighborhood, where they can keep tabs on each other's growth. That's good, Genera. You need to keep tabs on this woman over here.
I'm sorry to give her a responsibility like that.
When we come back, Genera will share her journey from St. Louis to Dubai and points in between. Oh my God, Dubai.
Yeah.
Okay, so everybody, stay listening.
CET, the Center for Emerging Technologies, is a proud founding sponsor of this Entrepreneurially Thinking podcast. We want you to know all about the great things they are up to. Square One offers 2 training options. Square One Ignite, a 4-week program created to help founders quick start their business model validation process. Or Square One Bootcamp, an in-depth 10-week, 50-hour program that combines formal instruction with hands-on learning, networking, and mentoring. To learn more about Square One Bootcamp or Square One Ignite, visit CETSTL.com. And for your renewed and continuing support, CET, we say thank you.
Hi, my name is Genera Moore with Motor Parts Nation, and what entrepreneurially thinking means to me is a way forward to push an agenda of your own. Define yourself on your own terms. Also learning how to be a leader, because I didn't start off as a leader, but do what's necessary and don't give up, because if you give up, then you'll live in regret. And regret really just brings, years of probably future alcoholism. So don't do that.
So, Genera, I'm kind of one of your groupies, I think, at this point. Since we met in December, I have had the pleasure of sort of, let's be frank, eavesdropping.
Ear hustling.
Yeah, ear hustling. That's a great, I've never heard that before. That's fabulous. I've been ear hustling at NextCore because I hear like snippets of what you're talking about, and I'm like, oh my God, what's she working on? Oh my God. So tell us, okay, you're St. Louis native, you've global international business experience. Who is Genera Moore? Who are you, dear?
Well, if I had to describe myself, I would definitely say that I'm a person where I like to learn. I'm always learning. I'm always growing. I'm always, taking things from this angle, that angle, and making it into a big pot to just take away things that I'm not exposed to, or things that I need to learn, or things I need to share. And it's an ongoing, I would say, an ongoing moment where it has elevated my life personally and in business. So there's always something to learn. And I feel as each year, moves on, there's always something new.
Wow.
To take away, and because I didn't used to be that way.
No? So what were you like?
Yeah, tell us what. Now you're this big global traveler with wings. Tell us how you got started.
How I got started? Well, after I graduated from high school here in St. Louis.
What high school did you go to? That's
a typical.
That's that
really
question. I'm not from here, but I know when I first got here, that was everybody's question.
All right,
wow.
Better answer.
I went to Ladue.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to Ladue, and after graduating, I moved to Atlanta for school. I went to CAU for a couple years, and I graduated from Georgia State University. Stayed in Atlanta for, let's say, around 10 years or so. I was dealing with concerts, doing bookings for artists, and just really...
Okay, she glosses over that.
I
was just booking.
Well, I used to go to different studios out there where artists, artists that you hear on the radio, their managers would be there. So I started grabbing contacts and found a way to make some quick money and started doing shows in D.C. and Northern Florida.
So promotional, you were on the...
I was booking them for promoters.
Okay.
So I de-risked myself and just
That's
got
a
paid.
theme I've heard in some of my, what did you call it? Ear hustling? I've heard the de-risking trend in her life too. So we'll come back to that. So you were booking them.
Yep. So
how did you get interested in the media and the entertainment side?
Well, Atlanta is
hot. Yes.
Hotlanta. It's known for celebrities, and now it's acting, it's models, it's a whole lot of things. And I think since you're exposed to certain things in cities, that's what the society flocks to. Okay. And I kind of wanted to speak on that because living there, you may have people who started out in college and they dropped out and they started trying to pursue a music career, which maybe
wasn't their highest calling.
Yes, correct. And
because they became a housewife on TV.
Well, that's a rare occasion. But I think a lot of people are exposed to that scene, so they all try to think they have talent to get involved with that scene. And I saw the comparison coming back to the United States because I said a lot of white males will go to San Francisco when they will move there. It's like a melting pot for people who want to get in tech. They may have a horrible idea,
right?
But hey, it may not be their highest calling, but they're going to give it a shot because that's the scene, right? So they have maybe a low probability or high probability. They just won't know until they go and network.
So you saw that kind of in Atlanta with the folks who were aspiring to be recording artists,
correct?
Right? So they just flock there, just like if you're a techie, you flock to San Francisco. You flock to Atlanta. only a small percentage make it in either place.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Right.
And you were starting to represent the folks who were making it.
But that was I was just comparing a different demographic.
Oh, yes,
goes
absolutely.
to those cities.
And the potential, I mean, even if you're kind of mediocre in tech, you might be able to make a decent living. But if you're mediocre in entertainment, you're not going to make any living. Anyway, we could explore that further. So we're just seeing how different cultural demographics are flocking to different parts of our metro areas.
Correct. So being exposed I'll get into how I moved to Dubai, but living in Dubai exposed me to different businesses, different business models, because I used to ask myself while I was doing concerts out there, I said, I'm making great money, but I'm hitting my ceiling.
And this is after you left Atlanta, you went to Dubai?
Yes.
Okay, because there was a little transition there. I'm like, how did you go from Atlanta to Dubai?
Well, 2009, it was around the time, Michael Jackson had passed away.
Yeah.
I was asked by a representative from the Abu Dhabi Tourism Authority, since it was the first Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. They had Beyonce, they had forget what band. I don't know if it was Linkin Park, but they had a big, closing concert, and they asked if I could bring a celebrity out there, and I reached out to Janet Jackson, and her management agreed to come. So she came. So that was necessarily my start in the region. I could say it was I'm not going to say it was horrible, but it was not the best introduction. But I didn't let that deter me.
Oh.
Okay. So
it wasn't the best introduction to
the country.
To the country.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because a lot of things that was supposed to happen didn't happen, and it was a big hiccup. But this is welcome to the UAE. This is how business is done by people who are shady. So there were shady people there, and I was, you learn a lot, and you hear this is common. If you don't know, they only do it to people they don't know that would understand. So that's
almost culturally then. If you don't understand that going to another area in the world, getting involved with people who might not be the best folks in for your business or for what you're doing. You just have to understand that.
Correct.
And sometimes I know in Asian culture, sometimes when you go do business in those countries, you almost need someone from that country working with you. Because of issues like this.
Yep, you learn fast.
Yeah, so you learn.
I could say, even in the United States, if you're in a setting where somebody thinks they know more than you, or they can take advantage of the fact that you're new to the industry, things may not be as up and up or good to go as you might think. But what I find interesting is you didn't let how you entered into the market dictate whether or not you stayed in the market. So you got into Dubai and you learned how business is done.
Yeah.
And what did you learn?
Well, I was out there for that particular weekend, and then I came back to the States. And
Did you get to meet Janet?
Yeah, I flew out on the plane with her in LA.
Oh, girl, yeah.
So
you guys can talk offline around that.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
So I actually came back to Dubai in 2011, and the reason why I came back is because you meet people there, and then they, hear about what you were doing, and they, try to invite you back. But I didn't really have necessarily anything solid to go after until I was introduced to somebody who's still a good friend of mine. He needed to, book some DJs, so we worked some things out, and it was a rough time because my grandmother had just passed. So it was a day after her funeral, I got on the plane to leave. Oh, wow. So that was kind of my grieving, like just go,
go and do.
Damn. So I didn't have a job or anything. I was just winging it totally. And
Going back to Dubai?
Yep, winging it. Yeah, just moved. Just up and moved. And
you moved?
Yeah, I moved.
You weren't visiting.
I moved.
Wow. Okay, that takes a lot of moxie, girl.
That's what we call her, Michael.
Or a lot of trust.
Right.
So I remember it was just really winging it. I was staying with somebody who was his good friend. I stayed with him and his family for 2 weeks at their guest home, and then ended up staying with one of the promoters I was working with at the time, because I was bringing another artist out. So it was like a continual, gradual, situation. And I remember, this is how you meet people in this country. You just maybe out and about. Things just happen that way. Just, I don't know, law of attraction. I remember even sitting inside of a hotel where I missed a brunch, and a friend of mine left me because he didn't know I was coming.
Oh my God.
And I was sitting on the phone, and a guy walked by and said, "Oh, I heard you say Atlanta. You live in Atlanta?" I said, "Yeah, I just left, I just moved from Atlanta." And he said, "Oh, wow." He said, a couple of, guys I'm here with, we're all from Atlanta. So I ended up meeting an investor for another situation. So it just gradually built itself up. And I went from that situation to working for the government there, doing royal family events. I did Dubai World Cup 2 years in a row, which is the richest horse race in the world. Yeah. I did 2 Cirque du Soleil shows out there. I did a lot of major events in the market, but like I said, I was hitting my ceiling, and I kept asking myself, well, how's everyone that's not native, I'm not going to use the word native, people who have been here for a long time, how are they, gaining wealth? So I started asking the question.
There you go.
What does your family do? What are you into? And that's how I got into what I'm doing now.
Oh, wow.
So, I want to take, how many women, because you were working in entertainment, and it's not many women that do what you're doing, or am I wrong about that, with the promoting and booking talent and all of that? So were you one of these unusual, they call them unusual birds in this particular industry? Because I haven't heard many, especially women, doing this.
What, as far as booking artists?
As booking artists and doing what you were doing over in Dubai.
There's women booking artists here in America, but over there, yes, it's not so common. And I get the question sometimes from people saying, "Oh, how was it like being a woman in Dubai?" I said, "Great, because I had the advantage."
Yeah, that's great.
Well, we're going to come back in just a second, and I really want to talk to you more about how being curious and asking the right questions has shaped your trajectory in the work that you do.
Okay.
BioSTL is a proud founding sponsor of this entrepreneurially thinking podcast, and we want you to know all about the great things they are up to. BioSTL Fundamentals is an entrepreneur development program targeted to founders wishing to start a company in the bioscience space, including therapeutic products, diagnostic products, medical devices, animal and crop agriculture products, and research tools. Participants earn resources by achieving specific coaching goals. You can learn more about BioSTL Fundamentals by visiting biostl.org. And for your renewed and continuing support, BioSTL, we say thank you.
Hi, my name is Genera Moore with Motor Parts Nation, and I always request people to pay up front so I don't have anything to lose. Going back to de-risking myself, and if you can find a way to, of course, you always take a risk, but try to not take a huge risk where
it's all or nothing.
Yeah. That's not. You're not a casino, so don't try this at home type of thing. I would say kind of test the waters first.
So, Genera, you went right from college to booking gigs. You worked for the government in Dubai, but that in and of itself, while maybe a traditional 9-to-5 in the strictest sense, is outside the experience most people would have in their work career. And today, you're not doing promotion anymore. What are you working on?
What are you doing?
Well, I kind of got this business idea at the time I was living in Dubai, and
asking those good questions and being curious.
Asking questions. At the time, I had just launched my own company out there dealing with bringing artists, and a very close friend of mine, he knew Oprah's best friend, Gail.
Oh, Gail, yeah.
So
don't we all?
Yes, I call her every day.
So we were arranging to bring her to Dubai for her show. For one of her, she had a tour that was here in the United States. and she only had selected cities that she went to. So we were planning to bring her, and she wanted to come around Women's International Week.
Yes.
And I'm not sure if she caught wind to maybe wasn't the right time, but it didn't happen. But it was no, love lost, because at the time, if I didn't put my mind towards something else at that moment, I would have, pretty much been, it was a big hooray to do something like that. But I didn't really let that slow me down, because at the time I was dealing with a friend of mine from London who would always tell me, because he's in the car industry, he would always tell me, he said, everyone out here, I saw it for myself. We'll go into a meeting, and this is in not in Dubai. This actually is in Qatar, which is another country next door to Dubai. So it was coined the richest country in the world. And I would go out there and sit. He would introduce me to certain people, and a lot of people were multimillionaires. And it's one of those things where I'm going to go back to saying, if you're on a certain scene, people are doing the same thing, which is construction. Construction was king there. A lot of people made a lot of money from construction work, owning construction companies. So he got me involved with cars. And at the time, I saw him gradually go from this stage all the way up to this stage, because he ended
kind of low to kind of high pretty quick. Huh?
He ended up getting a billionaire from the royal family there to invest in his company. Which was luxury car detailing chemicals. And at the time, I was working with Lexani luxury motor cars out of California. I brought their vehicle out to Dubai. It was different things I was exposed to, and Dubai is a transient place. So I met people coming and going, and I also had friends that I knew previously that would come and visit. And a buddy of mine would come and visit, and he's originally from Nigeria. And I just went to a auto parts conference, and I said, would this work in Nigeria? Because I couldn't do it in that market, because Dubai is oversaturated with not everyone, but a good majority selling parts. So it's a re-export market. So people are making millions and millions of dollars in that market just reselling to, say, Africa. But they won't go to Africa and necessarily set up shop. They will allow people to come to their warehouse and pick what they want, load a container.
So you transitioned into auto parts.
Yep.
Because you built relationships, learned about the opportunity, and saw how you could enter the market.
I was exposed to it. I don't know anything about fixing vehicles, but
you know how to get parts to Africa.
Correct. And it's so funny because especially being a female in that particular industry, you're definitely like a unicorn, so to speak. But it's funny because my main supplier, they generate $500 million a year in revenue. And I decided to email the CEO because I needed to talk to him personally. And he told me, look, call me tomorrow. So I called him exactly the next day. And he said to me, I was pretty surprised. I didn't know by the name if I was talking to a male or a female, but I see that you're a woman. And I said, yeah, you're probably thinking, how's a woman in this industry? He said, no, I'm not. He said, I've been in this industry for 35 years and I could barely pump my own gas.
So whoever wants to enter and sees the opportunity.
Exactly.
Correct. And dealing with exporting into Nigeria, I found out that it's a tribal thing where a tribe called Igbos, they are the ones who dominate that particular market. And I remember when I went to Nigeria this past October, my colleague's father, they're all Igbos, and he found out I was trading auto parts there, and he said, to be a woman and come all the way here and trade auto parts, he said, I commend you. And it was just funny. And I hear this from guys all the time. So, the support is there. People will work with you as long as you get the job done and, work things out with them and, be patient. And that's what they look for. They don't look for another guy. They don't care if he's another guy. They care about, well, hey, can I get along with you? And plus, I learned...
relationship.
Correct. And I also believe 2 guys or 3 guys, sometimes it's a lot of egos being thrown around.
Yeah.
A lot of testosterone, right?
Correct.
And I think it's very interesting. You coming from the States, you didn't find anybody, because it is very tribal. It is very, who you know and how you're connected. Did you find anyone saying that, oh, okay, you're an outsider because you're not from the country or you're not from the continent? I mean, we're all from the continent, but from a different perspective. So...
Well,
you didn't find that as a deterrent or people not trying to do business with you?
All I can say is from what I've witnessed, they love Americans.
Great.
They love Americans. And I've been told by people locally, whether it's in Ghana or Nigeria, they said that they rather deal with Americans than the locals.
Wow.
So you don't need to know why. That's just going to play into your competitive advantage.
Yeah, and I operate from integrity. So if anything, a few of the clients that I do have that receive orders from me and sent me money without getting anything in return, as far as their product right then and there, that's a lot of trust.
Yeah, that you're going to fulfill and then you're going to make it happen.
Correct, and I believe that's always key. They don't want something and it's missing, and then you got to call me and they're pissed off.
Right.
So how long have you been doing this business? And what's the name of your business?
Motor Parts Nation.
Motor Parts Nation.
Yep.
And how long have you been involved as CEO?
I've launched it early last year, but it wasn't until I actually launched my website at the time, which I found out that people don't even utilize e-commerce in the region. So I was putting money towards something that won't be fully utilized. When I launched that, that's when I kicked off and getting orders and clients and ongoing relationships built.
So you're doing business in between Dubai and Africa right now, pretty much, right?
Well, Dubai, I'm not dealing with Dubai as far as auto parts are concerned, just because it's already oversaturated. And I know, like I said before, a lot of the guys will come to Dubai and go to the different warehouses there. But the guys in Dubai don't travel to Africa to knock on their doors.
So you're using a supplier.
Correct.
And you're a distributor.
Correct.
Okay.
So naturally, I don't mind knocking on the doors in Africa because I'm building relationships. They see me. And not only do they see me, but people are open to working with you.
That is amazing.
I gotta ask.
Doing all the. I just before you start.
Can dig into,
I'm like,
you can dig into the business operations
because that's what I love. But
I know.
You are doing what we teach people all the time.
Yes, she is. So my question is: do you come from an entrepreneurial family?
Nope.
Do you come from a family that goes far afield of St. Louis, or my family's all in New Jersey. So your family all here still in St. Louis, and you're the one traveling the world?
St. Louis, Chicago, that's it.
Yeah. So where do you get this? Clearly, you know that your strength comes in your ability to build relationships, be authentic,
take risks,
operate in it with integrity. But look at her. I mean, she's cool as a cucumber, right? Ain't nothing. Like, if she's rattled, I don't think people would see it, right? So what gives you what motivates you? What drives you on this?
Well, the response has always been good when I've taken the risk.
So what seemed risky at the time turned out to be not so risky after all.
Yeah, you start learning to live fearlessly.
I was going to say, that's
so
what you were, Matt. That's exactly what I saw.
That's what I want to hear.
Yes, that's what I see in you. Most people are not going to pick up and go to Dubai.
Hell no.
Okay, so please, yes, tell us, how do you live fearlessly?
Go off my gut intuition. My intuition hasn't failed me yet. Anytime in the past where I've been ripped off, I saw it and felt it coming.
So listen to your gut.
Yeah,
that's what our listeners need to take
my
away.
Gut. And then sometimes sitting in a room with somebody that I know I'm going to sell right then and there, I know I have the business. It's just something that overcomes you and tells you this deal is mine.
You are a true salesperson. Because, I mean, most good salespeople say the same thing.
Yeah.
I know I got this.
And you've been really very open to what industry you're working in. So are you looking at where you can make the most money, where you can learn the most, where you can be most innovative, all of the above? What are you looking for?
It's all of the above, because running a company brings all that out. Of course, A, you need to make money.
Be profitable, right?
B, something I can grow in. I have grown. And something that I can sell one day. It's definitely a motive of mine.
Okay.
I think this is so cool because most people don't do exactly what you did, and it's connecting with other people. It's finding out what's the opportunity in that space or a new space, and being fearless about going after what you want. So I think that is just. Yes, you're a unicorn, but I think that's what we wanted to bring you on the show.
But there are also things that are replicable in your experience.
Absolutely.
And that you can learn how to live fearlessly. It wasn't always who you were. That's what I'm hearing. And that...
It wasn't?
Well...
Because every experience she said has been, I've lived fearlessly. I moved to Atlanta. I started doing this.
True.
So when were you not fearless? And how did that change you? I mean...
Well, you're right.
Okay. So she's always lived fearlessly.
Right.
Yeah,
But experience has taught you a lot.
Yeah, if you had to put it that way, yes.
But
You've been adaptable, which I think is really cool. You adapt.
Yeah, and I get along with people. So that counts for a lot, too. Because if I had a lot of scuffles with individuals, that means I can't no longer call them again.
Right.
Or if they see my face, they may say something horrible to someone I want to do business with. So I always believe in building a relationship, but always being able to show my face again.
See, I think living in a small, big town like St. Louis, where everybody knows everybody, prepares you to do business on the world stage. Because if you can walk away from this town going, I got to be nice, I got to do this, I got to do that, because we're all like 3 degrees of separation from each other. You've laid the core skill set you need to go do business in the rest of the world.
So how did you learn the business skills to run the organization that you have now? Is it that you
She has a degree in business.
Well, I also used to sit on the phone with various people in this industry and pick their brains.
There you go.
And I felt, of course, they knew I didn't know what I was talking about, but they didn't let on that I didn't know because they would like to talk to me.
And that's another part of being
Asking
fearless.
for advice.
Exactly. Talking to people, asking about, well, what do you do? How can I do this better? That's what I think many of our entrepreneurs get sometimes afraid to reach out because they're like, I don't know what I'm doing, so I don't want to let on to other people. I don't know what I'm doing, but...
So if somebody around here wanted to do business internationally, have you found resources in St. Louis that are helping you grow your business?
Oh, yeah. I know for sure they have a STEP grant, which will reimburse entrepreneurs who take it upon themselves to go on a mission trip or a trade conference. That's something to get involved with the Missouri Development, I think, Investment and Trade Office.
Okay.
Yep, that's a good one.
We'll have to find that and put that on our website.
Is that the World Trade Center?
They work with the World Trade Center, but this is more in Jeff City, where it's government initiative.
Okay.
Out of Chicago, I went into the MBDA office. I was introduced to the director there, and she was under the patronage of President Obama for the DBIA, which is Doing Business in Africa Act.
Okay.
So when I was introduced to her, she said, I got to help you out. So she started helping me out in more ways than one.
That's wonderful. And most people don't think about Africa and to do business in. I mean, it's a wonderful continent. And it's not a country, it's 53 countries on a continent. Okay.
So there are 53, if not more, opportunities to make friends and understand markets.
Well, what I can say about something like that, if people did Americans always just come late to the party when it comes to international business.
Yes.
But you have China, you have Europe, you have Middle East. They're all doing business in Africa for sure.
Yes.
And you can't look at where things are now. You have to take advantage of where things are growing.
Looking ahead.
What the market holds.
And that's how I looked at Dubai when I first initiated going out there. Because when I initially came out there, it wasn't, people, of course, were about Dubai, but then you started seeing more and more people traveling there. Now it's like, I've been there. People always say, they've been there on a group trip or a family trip or just something. People travel there.
It's not as exotic as it used to be.
Well, it's still exotic because
a lot of people have not been there.
It's still exotic because those people that leave, they're breathtaking. Like, oh my God, because it's a tourist town. So they need to take your breath away so you can go and brag on social media. But now they've made it more affordable. To travel there.
Yes, because you can get tickets that are not airline tickets that are very inexpensive.
So you can go there and check out your next market for an expansion of your empire.
I'm going with Genera to
well, most definitely.
I'm going to Africa.
If I'm going to go anywhere, I'm going to go
find
with
me
Genera.
another opportunity that I can get involved
So
with.
on that note, Genera, what advice would you give to folks who are thinking about going into business, becoming an entrepreneur?
Well, do something that you're passionate about and something that you would be good at, but also do something based on if you don't make any money, would you give up?
Okay. So what are you willing to lose for the opportunity to learn?
Correct, because there's so many entrepreneurs that, they've had to, wait it out to see a profit. But they believed in what was going on in their world, in their business, in their personal life, and it all came together for the greater good of what they were trying to do.
That's your passion, right?
Correct.
You got to follow the passion, because if the passion's not there, why are you doing it?
And then also put together realistic financial projections.
Amen.
Really?
Yes. Oh, hallelujah.
Yes.
The woman said, put together some realistic financial projections.
You mean no hockey sticks?
Or you mean no, I feel like it might work out?
Right.
Amen to that all day, every day.
Absolutely. I think those are some, as we call, pearls of wisdom.
Yes.
Big pearls of wisdom.
So, as I mentioned, you and I spent some time together in the Next Core co-working space. But if people wanted to learn more about your company, where would they find more information?
Well, they can send me an email. I can provide my email. It's gtm@motorpartsnation.com.
And is there a motorpartsnation.com that I can visit if I just want to take a look at your website?
Yeah, you can. Right
Awesome.
now I'm revamping it because, like I said, I had this fancy smancy website, and I now know why people in that region do not have websites, because no one necessarily goes to.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, know your market, know your market. Awesome.
You'll be leading the way on that, Genera.
I will.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, we hope that you'll come back, talk with us again, especially because I know you've got another venture or 20 in your future, and that you'll have lots to share with our listeners.
Can you give us a peek at what's the next thing for Genera?
Well, I would say what's next is I'm headed to Ghana in a couple weeks for a business mission trip.
Okay.
As far as other ventures, when I got invited to come to Nigeria in October, it was for a agriculture industry conference. And throughout my trip there, I stayed there for less than 2 weeks. I ended up meeting the Oba of Lagos, which is the king. That means king in Yoruba. I've met, I want to say, around 5 different rulers while we were in Nigeria. And I got pulled into the agriculture sector where, of course, what I'm involved in now with my business, they have a need in that industry.
So knowing how to import, export within the agricultural space.
Correct.
You have all those transferable type of
correct and
networks.
Yep, and I always request people to pay up front so I don't have anything to lose. Going back to de-risking myself, and that's something I want to add to entrepreneurs is that if you can find a way to, of course, you always take a risk, but try to not take a huge risk where you know.
It's all or nothing.
Yeah. That's not. You're not a casino, so don't try this at home type of thing. I would say kind of test the waters first.
Fantastic.
And then you start gradually seeing what works and then throw your money into that particular.
So piloting things.
Correct.
Prototyping, minimum viables. Yes.
Correct.
Understand if it will work or if it won't work at the least amount of exposure.
Well, of course, if you see a pool, Olympic-sized pool, would you go and jump in on the deep end first?
She's very practical, ladies.
Right.
She is a smart, well-planned,
very cool as a cucumber.
Operating with high integrity and business internationally.
I would say something about that too. In St. Louis, since I've been back, the ecosystem here and talking to different entrepreneurs that have had some type of level of success, grab information from those individuals. Talk to as many people as what you can, just to get a sense of the melting pot. Good advice from this person, good advice from that person, and just do it. Because if you don't, then you'll live in regret and say, "Oh, I should have came out with whatever product that they had, and I wish I've kicking themselves." You just never know.
You just never know.
Never.
Take the plunge.
Changing the way you view new ventures.
Thank you for being with us.
And I know about entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
It's entrepreneurially thinking.
Yes.
Get connected and discover more. Visit our website for show notes, resources, information about our guests, upcoming events, and of course, all your favorite episodes. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them for us in the comment sections, and be sure to leave us a 5-star rating on iTunes. The best way to show love is to share. Let everybody know that you're thinking entrepreneurially. So visit our website, entrepreneuriallythinking.com. #ETHINKSTL. Entrepreneurially Thinking is another positive production of Rare Gem Productions. Thanks for listening.